to the Piston Fanatic. I am your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Please subscribe. Our Pistons got crushed tonight by the Boston Celtics, 119-94, and they really killed us in the second and third quarters, but we were playing shorthanded. They were playing shorthanded, but they are one of the deepest teams in the NBA. So we didn't have Cade and Fontecchio and Grimes and Ausar, and then Stu got hurt, pulled his hamstring. So we were really, we don't have depth. So we were one of the thinnest teams with the least amount of depth in the NBA. And so when we lose five of our best players, we are really in trouble, and we were tonight. So some guys got a chances to play and stuff, but Boston, they just rained down the threes on us, and they are the best three-point shooting team in the NBA, and we got to witness it, and they killed us on threes. They're 31-3 at home, so they're just killing everybody at home. But they made 22 threes tonight, a really high percentage, and that's the most threes Pistons have given up all year. But now we'll see what happens. So we're going to talk a little bit about the injury thing, and it does. A lot of us Piston fans have been upset over the years, recent years, about how the Pistons do not say anything about injuries. So I try to be informed as much as I can about everything to do with the Pistons. And like, have you heard anything about Ausar? So please leave a comment if you've heard anything other than he has illness and that he has asthma. But it's weird that he's played all these games all this year, and like I had mentioned before, just before he was out with asthma, he played 43 minutes. He was playing lots of minutes. So it seems to me that someone should just mention, he has asthma, it's causing this, or this is happening, or at least give us a little bit of a clue. And with Grimes' knee, just give us a little update. Tell us a little bit what's going on. Just don't say, he's been out and every day, it's day to day, or we don't know. Why don't they tell us what is the holdup? Cade concerned me because he was listed as probable the 4 games prior to this game, and he'd also shot bad, not as well. He was shooting great before that, and then the last 4 games, his knee. And is it just a permanent thing? Is it a thing that just he dressed? I anticipated that he would be sitting out either the Miami game on Sunday or this game today. I thought for sure he wasn't going to play back to back, but hopefully we don't play till Wednesday, so there's um, hopefully he's with the 2 days off. He'll get better, and hopefully he'll be able to play. Because I'm going to tell you, for me personally, it's no fun to not see Cade play when Cade's not playing. And then I love watching Ausar play. He doesn't always play the greatest, but I love playing. And Fontecchio has been, since he got traded to us, he has been one of our 3 best players, I would say, and he's been one of our most consistent players. And so it's really tough for us to play without them. So yeah, we got the Pacers on Wednesday, and then the Pelicans, who's, like I said before, they're red hot. Then we got to go play the Knicks in New York and the Wolves in Minnesota, and so that's going to be a hard stretch. And we have some games that are kind of winnable, so hopefully we get back on track and get everybody healthy. With Stu, with the hamstring, those things take time. They just take time to heal. Some people were talking about the March Madness is starting, and it's a real exciting time of the year. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I love college basketball. I've always have loved the NBA since I was a kid more. I have a lot of friends that hate the NBA and are basketball fans, but they'll say, I love college basketball, but I don't like the NBA. But anyway, I love both of them. I probably love the NBA more, especially my Pistons. But it's just now there's not there's not the top players. Now there's the G League, and there's all these different leagues, Overtime Elite, and there's a lot of the better players are coming over from Europe or different things. So there's really, people say, they cover the draft. All right, the draft. Who are we going to watch in March Madness? What prospects are going to emerge and maybe put together a string of good games and raise their stock and stuff. But I don't even see Cody Williams from Colorado. That's the only one I'm even interested that's playing college basketball for the Pistons in the draft this year. So he is, 6'8", 6'9", and he's athletic, and he's got long wingspan, and he's can do everything. Again, my concern for Cody Williams is he shot really well, and so that shouldn't be a concern. Except you're skeptical when he shoots not very many a game, and so when his volume is real low, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. I always going to repeat, Zachary Ricochet is my pick for the Pistons. But there's some college players I love. I love the Dalton Connect from Tennessee. He is amazing. He can shoot the lights out. He can drive to the basket. He amazes me. I just love watching him play. But he's not that tall and he's not that great of a defender. And so that, makes him not a good prospect for the Pistons. I still would take him, man. If I had a late lottery pick, if I was picking like 12th, I would take him, if he was there on the board. So Reed Shepard, 6'3" guard, and 6'3" guards, how many 6'3" guards that aren't super athletes in the NBA, but Reed Shepard can. He has, he has one of the purest shots I've seen, and he just nails them. And he is great on defense for somebody that's not that tall or not that athletic, and he's a great passer. He is a really, really great basketball player. So we'll see. Does he have enough John Stockton in him or Steve Nash? I don't know if Nash was fast, so I just don't really see that. Some people talked about Evan Fournier, and he had a great game last game. He had a bad game tonight, but people don't, I think, always understand when we make these trades. Sometimes, like when we traded for him, we had to have matching salaries for Bogey and Burks, and so he was the expiring contract with the right amount of money in his contract that we could use to make the trade. And I guess if he ended up panning out or helping the team, it would be a bonus. But when we got Joe Harris, we took Joe Harris, and people got mad. Why did we take Joe Harris? He's no good, and that was our big free agent signing. But there was nobody else to sign for us really, and the NBA requires you to use like 95% of the salary cap, and so we had to have somebody on our team, and so we got him in a trade, and we got some second round picks back by taking his salary. So it's interesting. Taj Gibson. A lot of people are talking about Taj Gibson. He comes over to the Pistons, and right away Wiseman plays better. Well, I'm going to tell you guys this. Everybody hated on Wiseman all year, and the truth is, in my opinion, Wiseman had not always consistently good. His defense wasn't that great. I'm not saying he was this great, great player, but he had some really good games. He had some really good games, and everybody just said he's worthless. But again, I hear this all the time. There's a narrative. Now the narrative is, oh, Wiseman's better. Wiseman's getting better. Taj Gibson joined the team, so now all of a sudden we got that vet there. Well, you know what? I do think there's value in having vets on your team, and there certainly is. And I loved having Bogey. I watched Bogey talk to people all the time, and his commitment to playing and trying hard and just being a professional. I think he was probably a great vet, but they're not. To think that Taj Gibson instantly turned and taught these secrets to James Wiseman. I don't know. I'm sure he could give him a big boost of energy by encouraging him and trying to talk to him and fire him up. But I still am skeptical. And even with Muscala, and like I said before, with Muscala, I like Muscala, and Muscala did probably make a difference. But he played 13 minutes a game and he shot 31% on threes. And so people did have to guard him. Again, it's the opposite effect. So he could shoot 31% on threes, but teams in the NBA respected him more than they respect Stu, even though Stu's shooting 38% on threes. And so that does matter. But yeah, Taj Gibson became the 28th player to play on the Piston team this year. So that's the highest number in one season in Piston history. So that just tells you that we've had a lot of hard turnover on players, and a lot of it's due to injury, and then there were all those trades at the trade deadline, and so there's been a big flipping, and so it's really hard to get a lot of continuity. I do think we're better off with Grimes and Fontecchio, but I just want so badly to see Grimes play and come back. So I know that Ivy is another big story, and he played better tonight. He was 10 for 19, which is good. He still was only 1 for 4 on threes, and I still see him really trying to extend his arm and hold his follow through high. And I have faith. Again, I have faith. I say it repeatedly. He had a great stretch the last third of the season last year. He shot a really good percentage. His catch and shoot numbers were really high last year on threes. And then this year, for most of the year, he shot great. He started out the year really good, even though he wasn't getting to play consistent minutes. And then he had a little bit of a slump, and then he started shooting great. He had another great stretch. So we'll see. I mean, anything can happen, I guess. So uh, interesting. Poor Evan Fournier, Taj Gibson. We signed him for the rest of the season. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that, and everybody's talking about having him be a coach, but we've had veterans. I will say this: Stu is close to being a veteran. I know he's been here, so I think that this is his fourth year, and so he's that's he's been around, and he's a good leader. So I think, but yeah, it still is good to have those long-term veterans. But Taj Gibson's 38. He got to play tonight. It was pretty cool. He played 11 minutes, and I watched him play when he was younger, and he was a beast. I'm surprised he was 1 for 2 on shot 2 threes and made one, so that was impressive. But he's obviously his better days are far behind him. I was just interested. I can't remember. I should have looked it up before I went on the telecast podcast. The Grizzlies, I bet they have shattered and had way more than 28 players play for them today. They've had so many turnovers. But anyway, Fournier, like I said, I don't know if he's going to be an answer. I don't know if we're going to re-sign him. I guess he's still auditioning. He was impressive last night, but he was unimpressive tonight. And so I don't know if he wants to be signed. I guess if maybe nobody wants him. The narrative around the league was that he was garbage, and people like in New York like hated him because they thought he was no good. But I don't know. I don't quite understand that, why people dislike players. Like, I mean, there really seems to be, like, even for Weissman, that people like don't like him because they don't think that he's good. So anyway, Stu tonight played 17 minutes before he got injured. He was 2 for 3 from the floor, 1 for 2 on threes. He had 5 rebounds and 1 assist, 0 turnovers, 5 points, and he was minus 13. But yeah, he's hamstring. You could see him grab it. He jumped up and his leg came kind of down straight. Excuse me. And I just hope he gets back. But I'm at this time of year, you're better off being overcautious. Hamstrings take a long time to heal, unfortunately. So he makes a difference. I love, again, I don't want him to start, but I want him to play. And we don't have enough quality players, and he's one of our quality players. And like I said tonight, we lost him, and we had those other our top players all missing. So Duran did only play 22 minutes. So I'm not sure exactly how that happened. I mean, obviously at the end we were getting blown out, so they left him out. But they played Ivy, so I don't know quite what was the story with Duran. If Monty's trying to, I don't know, teach him something. I don't know. But he was 3 for 7, 2 for 2 on free throws, 9 rebounds, but 2 turnovers still. 22 minutes, and if he had 2 turnovers again, he doesn't touch the ball very much, and that 2 turnovers is too much for a guy that only has such little usage. But he had 8 points, and he was -7. Ivy again, 29 minutes, not a ton of minutes, but he 10 for 19, 1 for 4 on threes, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, so 21 points. So that was, our leading scorer. So Omude Stanley, he played a lot. He battled Jaylen Brown, even though Brown he had a great game, but he was out there fighting him and trying his best. And he played 33 minutes, so he was 3 for 7 and 1 for 4 on threes, which I think that's got to be his value. He's got to shoot the three well, but he was 3 for 3 on free throws, 6 rebounds, which is good, but he's played a lot of minutes. But he had 3 turnovers. It's too many, but he had 10 points and -21. So he had the second worst plus minus on the team. Malachi Flynn had the worst, so he didn't play very much. And actually Flynn looked pretty fast out there tonight, but Sasser, 34 minutes. He only was 4 for 12. He missed a lot of shots. He took a lot of shots, for his minutes, but he shot a lot of those mid-range jumpers and floaters, and they just weren't falling for him tonight. 1 for 4 on threes, 3 for 3 on free throws. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Sorry. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 turnovers. So he had a pretty good game last game, so I was hoping that he would put together another good one. But Taj Gibson, 11 minutes. He has, I don't know if those were his first minutes this year, but I don't think he's hardly played at all this year. So 11 minutes, 1 for 2, and they were both threes, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 points. And Tosan, don't know how to say his last name very well, so he played 17 minutes. I know Monty said he wished he would have played him last night more or at all, but he was 4 for 5, so that's impressive. 2 for 2 on threes, and 1 for 2 on free throws. So good game for him, 11 points and minus 12. Trey Brown Jr. finally, he hasn't been in the game in quite a while, so but he only played 8 minutes. He was 1 for 2, and I always see him cheering. He seems to be a great teammate. So Wiseman, 25 minutes, 4 for 10, he usually shoots over 60%. 4 for 4 on free throws, so he still had 12 points, but he did other things. 25 minutes, he had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and only 1 turnover. So good game for James, even though he didn't shoot his normal good percentage. Flynn, 18 minutes, 3 for 8, 2 for 5 on threes, 3 for 4 from the line. He was real active. He's bouncing all over the court. He's got 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals in only 18 minutes, and 3 points minus 6. So we shot 43%, and they shot 45%. But where we got killed was we shot 31% from the 3-point line, and they were 45%. Interesting thing, this thing continues. There's no doubt about it. The NBA is calling less fouls. Guys were getting fouled tonight, and it was interesting. It didn't seem like they almost like complained. Usually every game, every time a guy drives to the basket and they miss a shot, they raise their hands because they're telling the ref they got fouled, and but they weren't complaining as much tonight. But both teams combined and only shot 28 free throws for the whole game, both teams together. So we were 13 for 15, and they were 11 for 13. So at one point they called a lot more fouls than us and on them. I still think they probably did call more fouls, even though we shot more free throws. But we had 43 rebounds, only 12 turnovers. It seems crazy that of course, when you lose almost every game, then you're gonna lose games when you have a fewer number of turnovers, because it used to seem like that's why we lost. But then there's been games that we've lost where we've had a smaller number. So Jaylen Brown had 31 points, and White, who I really like, Derek White, he is a great player, underrated player in the NBA, and he had 22 points, and he was 6 for 12 on threes. So they had Brown, White, Porzingis, and all these guys scored, and Pritchard. And Pritchard, usually is a backup, but Tatum didn't play tonight, and Drew Holiday didn't play tonight, and so that they were shorthanded too, and Horford didn't play tonight. So, but all 4 of these other guys scored 20 or more, and they all shot over 50% or better on threes. So that was kind of the story of the game. So anyway, we will be on the air Wednesday night after the Pacers game, and the Pacers like to run, so I hope that we get some of our squad back, because when you're shorthanded and you have to play against a team that gets up and down like the Pacers, they will make you pay. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe. Be the reason that somebody feels loved. And go Pistons.